Hi friends. On 24th August, the Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi approved the Unified Pension Scheme. With this, the government reversed a 21-year-old measure brought in by the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government to reform India's pension system. What are the benefits under the scheme? How does it fare versus NPS and OPS? What is the financial strain that it is going to put on the Indian economy? Is it sustainable in the long term? What does the RBI has to say about it? What is the pension system being followed in the developed countries? And finally, which scheme is better for the people versus the Indian economy? Are some of the points that we are going to cover in this video. There are broadly 5 benefits offered under this scheme. Now, we are not going to go into detail into each of them as the data is already widely available over the internet. Rather, we are going to critically analyze the policy itself as we move forward in the video. So, the first benefit is an assured minimum pension. Suppose if a government employee has served for a minimum period of 25 years, the pension is going to be 50% of the average basic pay over the last 12 months before his retirement. Now suppose if the average of the basic pay is coming out to be 50,000, the pension that is going to get per month is 25,000 per month. The second benefit is an assured minimum pension. After serving a minimum of 10 years in the service, there is an assured minimum pension of 10,000 rupees per month. The third benefit is an assured family pension. In the event of an unfortunate demise of the pensioner, the immediate family members is going to get 60% of the pension that he was drawing. In addition to these 3 benefits, there is an indexation benefit and also a lump sum payment at the time of retirement. To adjust for the rising cost of living, there is a dearness relief that is provided to the employee, which is based on the All India Consumer Price Index for industrial workers. Now this is released every 6 months. Now coming on to the point, how does the Unified Pension Scheme fare versus OPS and NPS? The major difference between the two is that OPS is a defined benefit scheme, whereas both NPS and UPS are defined contribution schemes. Defined benefit and defined contribution are the two types of pension system. Defined benefit is a non-contributory scheme where the workers do not contribute anything towards the retirement fund and the entire pension amount is borne by the government. Defined contribution, in contrast, is a contributory scheme where the workers contribute towards the retirement fund during his service and the final pension that he receives depends upon the balance in the pension fund at the time of his retirement. The contribution under NPS was 10% by both employee and government till 2019. In 2019, the government increased its contribution from 10% to 14%. For UPS, the contribution is going to be 10% by the employee and 18.5% by the government. The Unified Pension Scheme, which is going to be valid from 1st April 2025, is a voluntary scheme for existing NPS participants. It basically means that NPS participants can continue to stay with NPS or they can switch over to UPS. Now it is expected that this UPS scheme is going to impact 23 lakh central government employees, and if the state governments decide to participate in it, the beneficiary number could increase to 70 lakh. Now one question that would definitely be striking your mind is, why did the government originally make the switch from OPS to NPS? And why the switch now from NPS to UPS? The answer to that question is, under OPS, the retired government employees received 50% of their last drawn salaries as their monthly pension income. Now this amount increased regularly to account for the rising cost of living via the revised dearness allowance rates every 6 months. Since there was no contribution from the employees, the entire pension amount had to be paid by the government. During the Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, the policy makers had serious concerns about the long-term sustainability of the scheme. They argued that since the government bore the entire burden without a specific corpus being created over time, the liability would increase to financially unhealthy and unsustainable levels. Now, increasing lifespan of the employees due to better health care was also considered. Now, all of this led to the government unveiling NPS on 1st January 2004, which we know is a defined contribution scheme. That is, the employees have to contribute to the corpus to be able to reap its benefit in future. Now coming on to the main point, why did the government switch from NPS to UPS? Was it done for the employee welfare or was it politically motivated? Since NPS was a market linked scheme, there was no minimum assured pension for the employees. Now, this led to their contention. Also, the pension amount under NPS depends upon the investment performance, which again led to the employee dissatisfaction as the returns were lower than OPS. And on top of that, employees were also required to contribute to the corpus. There were protests held across the country by the government employees to revert back to OPS. There was also a political turn of events when two non-BJP ruled states decided to revert to OPS. In the past 2 years, Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Punjab and Jharkhand have reverted back to the old pension scheme. Now there was a similar demand from the employees of other states as well. To address these concerns, the Ministry of Finance established a committee in 2023 under the then Finance Secretary T.V. Somanathan. The committee's task was to review the existing pension system and provide any necessary recommendations. After the Unified Pension Scheme was announced, T.V. Somanathan termed the scheme as fiscally prudent. Now, in my opinion, the government has tried to bring the best of both NPS and OPS under the same scheme. There will be an assured minimum pension while the scheme being contributory in nature, so that there is no significant burden on the government. There is also an assessment released by RBI in its bulletin on 18 September 2023, where it analyzes the fiscal cost if all the states revert back to the old pension scheme. RBI clearly highlights that the short-term savings by the states reverting from NPS to OPS would get overshadowed by the increased pension burden under OPS by 2030. It also quantified that the increased pension burden would be equivalent to 4.5 times of the pension under NPS by 2060. The report concluded by saying that OPS will be a step in the reverse direction and will be fiscally unsustainable. Some political observers note that the rollout of UPS at this time may be a strategic move before the assembly elections in Haryana and Jammu and Kashmir. A similar move was taken by the Congress government in Himachal Pradesh in 2022 before the assembly elections, which it subsequently won. I have honestly tried to put forward various facts, figures, and my opinions in this video. All the reference link can be found in the description of this video. Please do let me know your opinion in the comment section. Do you think that it's a politically bad move, or the policy has been rolled out genuinely for the benefit of the people?